Yeah, hi there. These comments are for E, and I'm going to read your integrated writing practice test number 11. So let's take a look at what you wrote here. So you're at about 169 words. My recommendation is about 250 to 300, right? And then you can give, with each main point you explain from the reading and the listening, you can also give a specific example in there as well. So you say the author in the reading passage, socialism is positive. You need a verb here. Claims that socialism is positive for society. But the speaker in the lecture and relativistic is not the only point that the lecture talks about. It disagrees with all three of the points. So I'm going to change this to say this will probably work here. So you have first in the reading passage, the author claims that socialism permits more justice by transferring the rights and duties from individuals and families. You want to say to the state or country. Then you might say whose primary goal provide food and money to the public. So I think if you say that, that's probably good enough. So it transferring the rights from individuals and families to the state or country whose primary goal is to provide food and money. In contrast, the speaker in the lecture claims, in fact, that socialism creates injustice because, let's look at the lecture here. We need to add a little bit in there. So it says it destroys true liberty, the freedom to decide all matters within our own competence. We'll say here it destroys individual freedom to decide and you have here within the so it destroys individual freedom to decide all problems. We'll put here by using appropriate reason. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, so let's go to the next one here. You have second, the author states that socialism pursues to promote equality among all people. On the other hand, you can say by taxing the rich redistributing that money to the poor. So you're almost there, but you're not quite developing your ideas enough. So you make a general assertion about, I think, a point in the reading passage. Then you give an appropriate example to support that. And just one is good. Then you move on to the next point. Okay, I think we're good there. So I think we said enough there. So let's go to the lecture now. Okay, so you say, on the other hand, the speaker disagrees. Fairness. We have, because if an employee has to fix his or her salary in the company, the people believing socialism make the salary equal with their employees. However, salary will be paid more proper. But what you're not saying here, which is important, is the speaker believes that this promotion of equality idea is radical. That's what you're not getting. You can say that socialism to pay fixed rather hourly wages you might say is seen as extreme. I'm going to say extreme. To equalize all workers. Notice how I'm using a noun clause here. I could have said here, the fact that socialism forces companies to pay fixed rather than hourly wages is seen as an extreme attempt to equalize all workers. And this idea, I don't know, you're having some translation problems. I don't think this works very well. Okay, let's go to our last idea. Okay, let's look at the main point in the reading. So we have, finally, the writer in the reading passage contends that it, usually, when you're using a topic sentence, it's usually better, instead of using a pronoun, to actually use a specific noun in the beginning of that paragraph. So the writer in the reading passage contends that socialism encourages relativism. In other words, right and wrong changes over time as people change. Maybe you You might want to say their values and morals. So we put a voice marker in there. So we have, in other words, right and wrong changes over time, the author believes, as people change their values and morals. Yeah, hi. Be right with you in a minute. Give me a second. You go and bring your computer up and see what we got. So, for example, in a socially, culturally relativistic society, since values change, there is no reason to limit marriage, you might say, as being between a man and a woman. So in socialism, they don't care. In fact, they don't even like traditional marriage. Socialism kind of rejects that, but they like the gay marriage thing. They like that because that's something that's different and it changes. Okay, so let's go to your next paragraph. You say, on the other hand, the speaker believes that it cannot support every case. What does it mean? Okay, in the last paragraph, you say the speaker believes that it. And what does it mean? Let's look at what the speaker says here. The speaker says that the relativism rejects religion because it goes against what Christians, Buddhists, Jews, and Muslims believe. So they reject that. They think it will cause a destruction of religion, family, and eventually society, right? We'll say lead to the destruction of families, religion, and societies. That's probably what I would say there. And what you said, it doesn't really capture the important points there. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. So let's see. The changes I've made so far to your integrated writing practice test number 11. So we have the author in the reading passage claims that socialism is positive for society, but the speaker in the lecture disagrees with each of the benefits mentioned. First, in the reading passage, the author claims that socialism permits more justice by transferring the rights and duties from individuals and families to the state or country whose primary goal is to provide food and money to the public. In contrast, the speaker in the lecture claims, in fact, that socialism creates injustice because it destroys individual freedom to decide all problems by using appropriate reason. Second, the author claims that socialism pursues to promote equality. Don't even need this. Let's just say promote. So it promotes equality among people by taxing the rich and redistributing that money to the poor. Therefore, socialism, according to the author, attempts to minimize the wage gap between the rich and the poor. On the other hand, the speaker disagrees with the claim that socialism promotes fairness, that socialism forces companies to pay fixed rather than hourly wages is seen as an extreme attempt to equalize all workers. Finally, the writing in the reading passage contends that socialism encourages relativism. In other words, right and wrong changes over time, the author believes, as people change their values and morals. For example, in a socially, culturally relativistic society, since values change, there is no reason to limit marriage as being between a man and a woman. On the other hand, the speaker believes that cultural relativism goes against what many religious believe and will therefore lead to the destruction of families, religion, and society. Maybe you said religious people. Okay, we got it. Now the question is, what is your score and why? So this is what you put here, right? And you can now see the changes I made to your writing. So I developed it. You had 169 words, and I developed the topic now to where it's about 253. So I added about 90 more words to your writing, especially I added those detail points in there so you had a little bit more depth to your ideas. Okay, now your score. Let's go to the syllabus, page 9. We can kind of see what's going on here. Okay, so if we look at the rubrics, I'm going to put you in the 3 area generally. Excuse me. You have a pretty good understanding, but you can develop your points a little bit more. So I'm going to put you at about 3.0 out of 5, 20 points out of 30 on this practice test. So sometimes you have incomplete, not inaccurate, but I'm going to say incomplete connection of ideas to the lecture, to the ideas in the reading passage. Now if you look into the syllabus on page 9, we have 3.0 is going to put you at 76% on this assignment. All right, and thank you for completing this homework assignment.